Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Therese Paylor, Chiefs beat writer with the Kansas City Star, and I'm here with the rest of the A-team. I got Holland Mad, Sam Mellinger. I got Blair, Face Kirkhoff, and I got Vahe Hannibal Gregorian. And we're here checking in after the Chiefs' 23-17 win over the Oakland Raiders. That's their 10th straight win, guys, and I don't think any of us could have expected we'd be at this point 2.5 months ago. So we're going to dissect this thing. You guys ready? All right, let's go.
Do it, Doc.
First of all, let's go with Face. Blair, kick us off. Please talk a little bit about the Texans. That's who they're going to face in the first round of these playoffs.
We didn't know that until when the Chiefs game ended. We weren't sure who they were going to face still, because if the Broncos had lost to the Chargers, then the Chiefs would be playing here at Arrowhead next week.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out no. Broncos win. Chiefs are a wild card team. Go to Houston, where they started the regular season this year. They started there. Brian Hoyer was the quarterback for the Texans then. They've had 3 different starting quarterbacks since then. Hoyer started today and will start the playoff game next week. I think there's very similar storylines with these two teams. Certainly not a quarterback, but the way their season's unfolded. You've got the Chiefs won that game at Houston, lost 5 straight.
Yep.
The Texans started out 2-5 and were just terrible, going through all sorts of stuff. They actually trailed in games this year, 42-0 and 41-0, while they were off to their terrible start. Well, they won 7 of 9 to finish the season, 9-7, and they win the AFC South. They are playing at home because of the division winners. Chiefs go there. I don't think that matters as much for the Chiefs. I would have preferred, I think they would have preferred playing a home game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they would have preferred playing a home game. But in terms of whether chances of winning, I think they're the same at Houston as they might have been here. They go off as like a 4-point favorite in this playoff game. So, and one quick thought about today's game: the block punt was a pretty big deal. DJ Alexander, looked off his guy, got his hand on the ball, got his arm on the ball, actually about his elbow, blocked the punt, and I thought the Chiefs really needed a spark at that time. Things had gotten really stale for them. And I know all you guys talk about what Alex Smith did today. Not very encouraging.
Interesting enough, that's a great transition. Vahe, you wrote about Alex Smith's day. Give us your major takeaway. That's your column for tomorrow.
Well,
tell the people what's up.
He's suddenly become completely irresponsible, reckless, that there's no hope for him. And I'm making fun of myself more than anything else. I think, actually, look, it's not good. It's not encouraging to see him do that, but it is so out of character and so odd. The really odd thing was him doing it a second time in a row. To his recollection, he'd never done that before at all.
The second interception.
The second interception, yeah, I didn't clarify that point. So to me, it's a blip, and it's an oddity. The first one, we sort of seem to be talking about this in the press box. It looked to me, and Andy Reid confirmed, that he was either looking him off or the primary was on his left, and he turned, and I think really without looking, it was just that automatic and just went. It assumed to be open. And at least that's explainable, and maybe they have to put a different kind of little asterisk in how they look at that play. The second one was really odd. Really not a play he makes, and almost like maybe he was squeezing too hard after the mistake. The encouraging thing to me about that is he actually didn't go in a bunker.
Right.
I also don't think that's going to have anything to do with how he plays next week. I think he's having a really good season. I think he's smart. We've seen what he does in the playoffs, and that to me is the undercurrent here. He played exceptionally against Indianapolis a couple years ago, but for some real oddities in his NFC Championship game against the Giants in 2011, he's a Super Bowl quarterback and looks like a different guy. But he has had those things, and I think he's burned into play and play well.
I mean, you kept a close eye on Alex throughout this game. Let me ask you something about the play calling, though. It's really good for a quarter and a half, I thought, offensively. Do you think that we saw the best of what they're going to bring out next week? Because I don't think so.
It's kind of funny because we all perked our heads up early on the Therese prediction that they were holding stuff back the last couple of weeks for this game, not for the playoffs. But then I do think that they just, what was our word of the day, nursing the lead?
Yeah, there was some nursing.
And I still think they did that. And I would like to think after what happened in Indianapolis a couple of years ago that there's going to be none of that. I mean, I know you have to play smart, but
yeah, it can't be next week.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a different, cut loose mentality, I think.
And that actually leads perfectly into our final segment with our man Sam here. Listen, if they were holding some stuff back, that means like next week they should be primed to put up more points. They really look better offensively. And if they do that, you think this team has a Super Bowl type ceiling? Like, is that something people can reasonably hope for, or do you think that we're still maybe a year away from that? Where are you at?
So I know I have a tendency to take all these questions too
You
literally.
do, you do.
But you said hope. You didn't say expect.
I want to say expect now.
So,
It leaves it wide open.
yeah.
Wide
So,
open.
but yeah, I mean, I think that they have the highest floor. I believe that they have the highest floor of any team in the AFC. The AFC is a jumbled mess. The Chiefs have won 10 in a row, and despite the 2 interceptions and other things like that, they've won 10 in a row. Their list of questions, especially we assume that Justin Houston will play next week. So this is a team that's won 10 in a row and adds their best player. You look around the rest of the AFC, the Broncos turned the ball over 5 times. They have a lot of questions at quarterback right now. It's either I assume Peyton Manning's going to start, and if he's healthy, then that's great. But the last time we saw Peyton Manning, he was overwhelmed and embarrassed. The Patriots lost a game that they knew was for the number 1 seed. The Bengals have A.J. McCarron or a diminished Andy Dalton. The Texans are only in the playoffs because somebody from that division has to be. Everybody else has all these, sort of issues, and the Chiefs are kind of gliding through. And now I think that momentum, people like us can overstate the importance of momentum. I'm not sure exactly how much. There's very, very little evidence that it really means as much as sometimes we think. But sure beats the alternative. And I was thinking about this too. I think it's probably been since 1997 that the Chiefs have gone into a postseason feeling like this. Because 2 years ago, they started off 9-0, right? And then they lost, what would it be, 5 of the last 7, right?
Yeah.
2010, I think we all knew that was kind of a shaky team. 2006, they completely backed into the playoffs that year. They had kind of like the Colts parlay that didn't hit today would
Right.
hit for the Chiefs then. 2003, they lost. They started off 9-0 and then kind of faded a little bit down the stretch. In 1997, I mean, that's a long time since they've actually had reason to feel really good about themselves. Now, that turned into heartbreak too, because it's the Chiefs and that's how it tends to go. But you'd rather have this than the other way. And I think they have a lot of things to feel good about, not the least of which is that there's not a team out there that you just, oh my God, the Chiefs, there's no way they can beat that team. They can beat everybody in the field, in the tournament, as the former GM used to say.
Absolutely. And you know what, I'll say this. My main takeaway from today's game was this. I was in London 2 months ago, alone. These guys, my A-teamers abandoned me in London.
We did.
Especially
me. Especially me.
Yep, my
Especially
man
me.
Va, definitely. But I will say this. I felt like today we got a chance to talk to Clark Hunt. And it just helped me realize how far we've come in a month, like 2 months. Because 2 months ago, I was asking him if they were going to keep John Dorsey and Andy Reid next year. Like, that's what I was asking. And now my first question is, how confident are you that y'all can make a run? Like, that's a huge difference. And I think it's something you shouldn't take for granted, because it's hard to come back from that kind of deficit. A 1-5 start in this league, it's almost impossible. This is a business. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. So it just really hit me how far this team has come, and expectations as well. I mean, even a month ago, I wouldn't have said this team had a chance to go to a Super Bowl, but now, like, they've kind of changed my mind. I think they can maintain this hot streak and maintain some of the good things they do defensively and improve the offense, because the offense has been a little shaky over the last month. But if they can do that in today's NFL, you can make a run, and that's going to be interesting to see. And we're going to be there the whole way. Guess what? We're going to Houston, right? Let's go.
Again.
That's right. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you watch all our videos. Check out our podcast on iTunes at Sports Beat KC. We're getting a lot of positive feedback from that. Check it out. I think you'll like it. Also, go to kansascity.com for all your Chiefs news, because we got it down pat. For Blair, Sam, and Vahe, I'm Therese. For the rest of the A-team, Cat's back in the office. We'll see you later. Take it easy.